So I think it's really kind of interesting to see, and you don't have to go very far, to your point, to see a lot of First Nations and Indigenous communities represented here, businesses that are fully owned, where they have that ownership, but they bring that ethic to, whether it's extracting mineral or, harvesting the forests. It changes our relationship with the planet.
I've tried to explain this to people, investors, people from outside, that when Indigenous people talk about protecting Mother Earth, it's not a slogan. It is their fundamental relationship with each other and with the world. And the fascinating thing, and I've worked in many communities and I've seen many projects, and I've seen some projects go ahead and I've seen other projects not go ahead. And when they don't go ahead, it's because if you don't understand that Indigenous communities will put the safety of the earth ahead of making a dollar every single time, then you're in the wrong business in dealing with Indigenous communities. That's why their perspective is so important. And for a long time, I think this whole traditional ecological knowledge talk, companies thought it was kind of hoodoo and they would agree to it, but they didn't really take it seriously. Now they understand that sustainability lens is the lens for going forward in the 21st century. And it is the difference between companies that are going to make it and the companies who really have to be relegated back to the 20th century.
And those I've talked to over the course of this conversation, specifically mining and forestry, they will tell me that their relationship with the private sector and the First Nations, Indigenous communities is actually evolving. A lot of that's happening on Bay Street. We're seeing that. But if there is any sandpaper in that relationship, it's government more often than not that gets in its own way, as well intended as government may be with regulation or, how we're creating guardrails to save the environment. Government tends to get in its own way on this stuff.
Well, I mean, the big example is when Doug Ford made the announcement that he himself was going to drive the bulldozer up to the Ring of Fire. That put that project back a decade because it just sent a message to Indigenous communities that all their negotiating wasn't going to matter if the Premier himself said, "I'm just going to drive a bulldozer through your territory." I still hear that quote given back to me from Indigenous communities. The role government has to play is to ensure that the consultation process is fair and that the rules for development are clear, but it's a matter of respect. And if we don't have respect at the fundamental level, we're not going to get projects going ahead. And where we do have respect, great things are happening. And it is something that I think we can really promote in Northern Ontario. We were the poster boys for the longest time for how to do things badly. I mean, you look at Sudbury, you look at Kirkland Lake, you look at Timmins, you look at Cobalt, the tailings, the contaminated lakes. But you look at new mining and you look at sustainability and you look at women in the industry, you look at the fact that we are moving more and more towards a critical mineral strategy that will have the EV technology really transform things. Northern Ontario is a place to teach the rest of the world, I think. We did it wrong. We're doing it right, and the rest of the world can learn from us as well. And that's why being at PDAC is so important and seeing it's not just the big companies that are here, but all the small, literally mom and pop kind of operations.
A lot of them family owned, and they've been in generations.
Bringing forward really, really interesting, provocative ideas. That's why I basically live here during the week of PDAC, because I learn more in a week here than I can learn a year on my job in Parliament.
So it's easy to point to, I get the quote around Doug Ford. I understand the context and how it kind of gets people's backs up. But at the same time, we're talking about First Nations and Indigenous communities among themselves who can't agree on how best to approach Ring of Fire. And between you and me, we need it. We need that project to move forward.